Throughout recent history, a bunch of lens manufacturers have tried to make auto-focusing cinema lenses, but whenever I attempt to manually focus those, it feels like I'm putting my hand into gloves full of pomegranate seeds. It feels wrong, I hate it, and I resent whoever put me in that situation. But things may have changed with the brand new Sigma Cine Zoom auto-focusing lenses. I've got the new 28 to 45 millimeter T2, as well as the 28 to 105 millimeter T3, and Sigma might have just changed everything with these lenses. I'm Jordan Drake, this is PetaPixel, and this review is going to be a roller coaster ride of disappointment and delight.
B&H is a wonderful place to get pretty much anything you can think of when it comes to photographic gear, videographic gear, and professional audio equipment. They've got a huge store with tons of stock, and right now there's a really great way to buy stuff at B&H. Just get one of their Payboo credit cards because this gives you two big advantages. So first, you can buy all of your gear and save the sales tax. B&H will refund the sales tax back to you when you make your purchases. To check your eligibility for Save the Tax benefits, visit bhphoto.com/payboo, or you have another option. You can finance expensive purchases over 6 months or a year using your B&H Payboo credit card, and this just makes it a little bit easier to spread those costs over a longer period of time. But as always, remember that this is a credit card, so you want to use it responsibly, and you do have to get approved for this card. So to learn more, go to bhphoto.com/payboo. So look into getting your own B&H Payboo credit card today. It is provided to you by Comenity Capital Bank.
If you've been paying attention to the title cards at the start and end of episodes, you may have noticed that I have been using Sigma's Izu Prime lenses, and now I've been using the new Cine Zoom lenses for a lot of our episodes. And I just want to do a brief disclosure here because we do have a partnership with Sigma to shoot most of our episodes in 2026 on Sigma's lenses. Despite that, just like our earlier review of the Izu Primes, I'm approaching this from an editorial perspective, and this is completely detached from Sigma support. They have no editorial input on this video, and honestly, I don't think they even know that I'm making it. You know, we've always been honest in anything that we label as a review, and this is no different. If you looked at our earlier Sigma Izu Prime lenses, yes, those are great lenses, but we pointed out some serious flaws with those, and we're going to be doing the exact same thing today looking at the Cine Zoom series. As well, I want to point out that whatever lens I'm not holding at the time is being used to film me. Chris is running one of those Sigma Cine Zooms right now. Now, Sigma has been making cinema lenses, even zooms, for quite a while. So what makes the AF Cine Zoom series so special? Well, the first thing is right in the name. These are autofocus lenses, but despite that, they still have proper geared and indexed manual focus rings on them. As well, these are designed based on mirrorless mounts. The previous Sigma cinema lenses have all been optimized for PL mount, which made them extremely adaptable. So the good news is this is based on Sigma's outstanding mirrorless optical formulas, but the downside is you can't adapt these lenses. You got to buy them for the specific mirrorless mount you plan to use. So for the first two lenses in this series, Sigma looked at some of their mirrorless formulas that made the most sense for video shooters, starting with the 28 to 45 T2. This is based on the 28 to 45 millimeter f1.8, one of the brightest full-frame zoom lenses ever made, which makes it outstanding when you're working in available light. As well, they looked at the 28 to 105 f2.8, which is now the 28 to 105 T3, which is an outstanding focal range for doing documentary and event work. So if you can get a much less expensive photography version of these, well, what do the cinema zooms bring to the table? The most obvious difference is just aesthetically, this looks like every other proper cinema zoom lens out there. On this lens, you've got a geared iris, zoom, and focus ring on it. Looking at the front of the lens here, we've got an industry standard 95 millimeter outside ring diameter. This makes it an absolute breeze if you want to attach a lens-mounted matte box. But as well, if you want to keep things nice and portable, this has an 82 millimeter filter ring, so you can just screw things in and keep everything nice and compact. As well, if you look at the top and bottom, you do have some screws for attaching a 1/4-20 tripod plate to the lens on the top and bottom. And I love the fact that there's an iris lock switch on this. Now that'll lock the iris and let you control it from the camera body. I really like this because I find I'm constantly reaching for the zoom ring and inadvertently shifting my exposure, which can really screw up a shot. One other thing about the design of these lenses is, while they're quite small for cinema zooms, they're actually quite a bit heavier than their mirrorless photographic counterparts. But I do like the fact that these have still some gaskets around the rings here, and I've used these in inclement weather and they've worked really well. They seem quite well sealed. Okay, so all those handling features are nice to have, but it's nothing truly exciting that would make me call these lenses revolutionary. The thing that's revolutionary about them comes down to the focus systems. Let's start when you've got that clicked into autofocus mode here. Now this is available in E mount and L mount, and both of those systems have cameras that are capable of extremely good video autofocus, and these use the same linear motors that we've seen in their photographic versions. They are extremely responsive and silent. These things have excellent motors in them, and they better, because this isn't actually a mechanically coupled focus ring. What happens is, when you're in manual focus, you're twisting that ring, and it is driving the lens. Now we've seen this many times before in the past with Sony's cinema lenses, even Nikon's most recent Z-mount cinema glass, and you always feel extremely detached when you're rotating that focus ring. There's a bit of a lag, you'll constantly overshoot. But I was very surprised as soon as I laid hands on this. It feels like a mechanically coupled ring. And recently I have handed this lens to videographers, cinematographers, even the technicians at KEH who are used to handling all kinds of exotic lenses, and I get the same response from everyone. This feels like a true mechanical focus ring, so if you throw this on a mechanical focus puller, it's going to work great. If you use it with electronic follow focus solutions, it's going to consistently hit the mark. This is a real breakthrough in giving you extremely solid autofocus performance, but not compromising on the manual focus experience. So look, these are based off of existing optical formulas. How do these lenses actually perform in terms of the images that they produce? So when we reviewed the original photographic versions of both of these lenses, we said that they were absolutely excellent for video production. So I don't think they needed to mess with the optical formula too much, but I did want to check. So here you can see we're basically getting the same image, like the same contrast, resolution, everything like that is basically untouched from these lenses. And that's wonderful. These have a great character to them. We've already gotten a bunch of compliments about how our recent episodes that were shot on these lenses look. But there's a couple things that are really important for videographers that I wanted to test with these lenses, and that's being parfocal and how the breathing performs on it. And unfortunately, I found these lenses are exactly the same as their photographic equivalents. So you can see here when I focus on the wide angle and then crash in, I do need to refocus. The image goes out of focus. Same on both of these lenses. The 28-45 does exhibit some pretty noticeable breathing, actually at both ends of the focal length. And if we jump over to the 28-105 there, we get a little bit of breathing at 28, but it's actually quite good at the telephoto end. But neither of these guys are going to give you a completely clean experience when you're pulling focus from near to far. The only area where I did see a difference with the cinema versions is when it comes to flare. I think there's probably a slightly different coating on these because they are the same optical formulas, but here you can see the flare was a little more pronounced on the cinema zooms, which is great. I think a lot of cinematographers will be looking for that, but if you plan to shoot a lot backlit, yeah, you're going to get a little more flare, a little more ghosting with these cinema lenses. I think the biggest testament to the usability of these lenses is that I have an entire office full of wonderful photographic L and E mount lenses for shooting video, as well as the gorgeous ISO primes, but I just keep going back to these Cine AF zooms because they're just so versatile. The manual focus experience is fantastic. The autofocus is extremely reliable on them. And yes, you do pay a big premium to get the cinema versions of these lenses, but remember, unlike most cinema lenses, there's not a real drawback if you also want to use them for photography. And if we look at these lenses compared to other cinema zooms, well then they are actually quite compact and reasonably affordable. Do I wish they would just invest a little bit more and make them fully parfocal and breathing corrected? Well, yeah, I mean, that would be fantastic. But the lenses that we've got right now are extremely usable for the price, and I think Sigma's got a huge hit on their hands. The big thing is, should they get all the credit for having a breakthrough with this new manual focus autofocus solution when something very similar is coming from Fujifilm in their GF mount lenses? Well, stay tuned, because I'm looking forward to playing with those lenses as well and seeing how they stack up. Who is the real king of autofocus cinema lenses, Sigma or Fujifilm? We'll have an answer for you soon. But thanks so much for checking out this episode. I can assure you I'm going to be talking about my filming experience using these and other cinema lenses on the PetaPixel podcast. You could watch it right here on this same channel or listen to it with all of your favorite podcasting apps. And if you're like, this video was great, how could I support these fine people? Best way? PetaPixel membership. Only $3 a month or $30 for a whole year. Look at these perks. I've had to reformat this page just to fit all of them in because there are endless perks for being a member. It's something you should definitely take a look at. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all soon with more on PetaPixel.